Hey everybody, and welcome to the True Crime Squad. This is Katie Weaver. I'm here with my sister, co-host, and partner in crime, Kristi Brower. Hello.
Hello, hey everybody. Happy Wednesday.
Yeah.
I got a latte at Dutch Bros earlier.
Oh.
I just turned it into an evening drink.
That's funny because I also made an evening drink today.
It's a mocha with some extra special peppermint flavoring.
Ooh, yum.
No.
Mine is Corey Richens did not make this. Settle down. I'm already feeling a little silly, and it's going to get worse. Just FYI.
I could tell.
This is it's sugar-free lemonade with a shot of grapefruit gin and a shot of this fancy rose liqueur that we bought at that fancy whiskey store in Jackson. Oh my God. It's insane. Yes. Oh,
I got
Kristi's tossing one back too.
Ooh, nice. I got the apricot brandy from there, and oh my
Is it good?
God, it's the best apricot brandy I've ever had. And I love apricot brandy.
Me too. I bought absinthe there. I should have bought some. I love that when you're coughing, to take a shot of that. That makes it so much better. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Victoria needs fave Dutch Bros orders in the Discord. Oh, yeah. Oh, I have two.
Ooh, sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We can do that.
Let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
I came with a small gift. However, I have to tell you guys, I have shopped till I dropped today. It is insane. So, our cookie day is Saturday. So I needed some things. My daughters needed some things. Poor Mars. She's trying to take her last final, working 40 hours this week. She's just overwhelmed. So I'm like, please just tell me what you're planning on making and I'll go buy your stuff. Like, just calm down.
Sure.
Last night she posted on her secret Snapchat, like her private snap, that a picture of her sitting in front of her laptop that said, "Someone please give me the motivation to take my last final." So I messaged her and said, "Get it done or I'll beat your face in." It's just the way we talk to each other. Like, I wouldn't.
Right. No.
And then followed by, "Love you, proud of you." And so she screenshotted that and posted it. Don't worry, guys. My mom took care of it.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But she hasn't taken her final, so I have to now threaten her yet again tonight. But apparently tonight's the night. Yeah. But she called me two nights ago at 11:30. Yes. Ugh. Taking a final, panicking, needing some help. I'd already had the sleeping meds, man. I wasn't very helpful, but I spent 30 minutes on the phone with her trying to hurry and look things up and troubleshoot some ideas, and well, we did not get a good grade.
Is it passing? Because if it's passing...
It was passing. She had a 96 in the class, but it dropped her to a B. Which super sucks. But,
oh, well.
You can't call me at 11:30 at night and think I'm going to be coherent. I'm not.
Right. I mean, my last semester of college, I took a night class that was social stats, and it was so hard and stupid, and I hated it. And Rhonda drove me, and I cried all the way there, and she kicked me out of the car and went and hung out with our friends at some fun bar while I went to this horrible class for a whole semester. And then she drug me down there and made me go take my final, and I got a D in that class, and I graduated, and I don't care. And I got really good grades. I mean, that was not a regular for me, but I was like, whatever. I'm just done. I don't care. I never, ever want to have to think about statistics again.
Yeah.
And, as a social worker, I never had to use stats. Not one damn time.
Mm-hmm.
But that class nearly killed me, man. It was just all I could do.
Yeah. It nearly killed Matt, too. It was
so
awful.
I feel for Mars.
Yeah. Well, this is only the second B she's gotten in college. And it just stresses her out and upsets her because she's applying for law school.
Oh.
She needs to have really good grades. Especially because law school, the school she wants to go to offers pretty good scholarships that are merit-based. And so she's like, I can't afford to go to law school if I don't get some really good scholarships. So, God damn it.
Right.
But, it's okay. It's fine. It's fine. It'll be fine. Anyway, I did bring a gift.
It will.
It is a short video. I almost didn't share this because of how terrible my kitchen floor looks in this video. I will tell you, this was right before Scott mopped. It's why I just went ahead and, well, you'll see. Let this stuff get all over the floor.
We all know you have pigs in your house. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Diggin' FNX said, I graduate in May and I shoot for C's because they get degrees. Well, right. And everybody gets a lower grade sometimes. It just happens. Yeah. Sometimes it is completely beyond your breadth to control it, too. I mean, some professors.
Oh, my gosh.
And that was the case here. Most of what was on this test, was not in her notes. It was not in the lectures. I said, was this in your reading? And she said, there wasn't any reading. Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's very true. In college, it is Professor Roulette. You never know what you're going to get.
For sure. And sometimes
I had a social work professor that literally read photocopied pages out of the book that she wrote.
She wrote the book?
I stopped going to her class. Yeah, she wrote the book for the class, the textbook. And then she literally just read out loud from photocopies out of the book in every lecture. Yikes. And I went, oh, well, I just figured out how to get an A in this class, and that's to not go to this class.
Did you get an A in that class?
Yes, I did. I just read the book and took the test. I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Why do I need to be here while she reads for me when I could just be reading at home?
You cracked the code. Way to go.
I did.
Very good.
She was the most boring social worker I ever met, too. Most social workers have a lot of good stories, you know? Like, I have some really good ones. She did not. No.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. It was really weird.
That is
she was very ready to retire, I think.
That was probably all of it. Yes.
Yeah.
I can see that. Well, this is a little video of the nightly routine that happens at my house right before bed. So I thought you guys may be interested in this.
Look up. Okay, I think everyone's done. A little more for Piggy Boy. Okay.
And then Bruno got his, because Bruno is my little tiny guy, and he is terrified of the whipped cream. He wants some really bad, but you can't spray it in his mouth. He's so scared. But what he'll let me do, so he waits on the couch, because he knows he'll get his. So he'll let me hold my hand right by his mouth and spray it onto my hand, and then he'll eat it off my fingers. But he will not let you spray it in his mouth for his life. So, but that's the nightly whipped cream ritual that Matea started this years ago, and here we are. If they hear spray cream or squirty cream, as some of you call it, they will come. Those pigs will come from the North 40, man. If they hear that, they're coming. So there you go. That's the that's what they do. The lip smacking, especially of Zig, absolutely kills me. It just starts this.
That's so
funny. Yeah, Zig. That's Zig, Camille. Yes, and he totally understands the assignment. Yeah, Fiona. I don't know if I gave her too much or she shut her mouth too fast, but she made a mess with hers. But
well, Lukey helped her out.
He did. They always will. Yes. So that's that's what goes on at my house. Yours as well. I'm sure all of you. Yeah.
I mean, I think some of my kids would be real pissed to see that whipped cream coming out every night, because mine don't get that every night. They get other stuff though, so they're fine.
Scott doesn't like it. Every day he complains about it. Why are you giving them? Because they like it. What are you talking about? Oh, Joyce Fiona heard her name.
Oh, funny.
You guys are all just lucky I don't have somebody named Alexa. I would never.
No.
There's a lot going on. But I think probably the first thing we need to do is hear from our good old friend Sarah F. Boone.
Yeah.
Yeah, Janet can't see anything. Maybe just try. I'm going to tell her. Try refreshing. Oh, gosh.
No.
I can't spell refreshing. I don't know why. We are...
She started her evening drink a little too soon.
I actually did. I am famous for this. This is why the drunkumentaries were insane, because I started too soon. I finished too fast. That might be today too. Okay, well, Sarah has written a letter to the court, and we thought you might be interested in it. To be fair, I'm not going to read you the whole thing because it is 26 pages long.
It is unbelievably, why am I surprised? This is Sarah Boone we're talking about.
And of course, it's handwritten in that really loopy handwriting she does, so I'm going to do the very best I can. But let's go ahead and shore this up.
In her cell, she pens with spite. Sarah's letters filled with fight. Judge, you're wrong, I must protest. I demand you fix this mess. Sarah's letters rude and bold, disrespecting every fold. From behind those prison bars, her insults reaching near and far. Every letter, every line, your decisions are out of line. Tune in, hear her rage. Sarah's letters on the stage. Every letter, every line, your decisions are out of line. Tune in, hear her rage. Sarah's letters on the stage. Every letter, every line, your decisions are out of line. Tune in, hear her rage. Sarah's letters on the stage. On the stage.
Okay. So,
Welcome, Armand. I hope you know who Sarah Boone is, because that's what we're doing right now. Armand just found us on YouTube, so.
Oh, I'm struggling. Okay. All right.
Watching you get this fixed while the video was playing was hilarious, I have to say. It is Looney Booney time, yes.
Oh, no.
Sarah's having a rough hair day. I don't know if you can tell, but...
How does she even wear this hair? Okay.
She doesn't wear a
Alrighty,
headset.
Let's get at it. And first of all, Judge Craddock, I'm sorry, I don't feel this way, I promise. Okay, it is I, Sarah Boone, coming to you from prison. So this letter, December 6th, 2024, written to Mr. Michael Kranick. I am enclosing, please, my complete statement to you and the world as I partially read during my sentencing hearing. By my reserving particular parts of my very true and meaningful statement, I was hoping to have been granted with your forgiveness, understanding, and consideration in any level or degree. For me, unfortunately, and regardless of when I had spoken on my behalf, your ignorant mind was already made up. By your clear error and full-blown unfair bias against me, since your involvement in my crucible case as a whole, I have been unsuccessful in receiving anything from you as a supposed fair and neutral judge, except for your wish that I spend the rest of my life in prison. Please know and always remember, Mr. Kranick, I forgive you. Still and sincerely. Please understand also, the judge, according to Cicero, is never to lose sight that he is simply a man and that he cannot exceed the power given to him by his commission, and that not only power but public confidence has been given to him, and he ought to always very seriously attend not to his wishes but to the requisitions of law, of justice, and religion. I am excited in my appeal, which speaks for itself. My case law as well, in which I am extremely proud to have achieved, and will continue to do so, now that I'm no longer in your corrupt court, and free from your malevolent judicial grip. Sarah Boone versus the state of Florida. I have also added to my statement, as a result of your blindness and impartiality, foremost your disgust in me as being an outspoken woman, determined defendant, and proactive client, hoping the next time you put your listening ears on and do not unfairly oppress the next case you have so blatantly done to me. You will never admit your many judicial errors, nor will the prosecutors theirs, and I will never admit to what you have wrongfully accused me of and judged me as. I am not a murderer. I am a survivor. From Sarah Boone. Black robe disease, arrogance in a judge, a slang term for a judge who flaunts judicial power and dominates proceedings at the expense of the dispensation of justice. Impartiality is the first duty of a judge. Before he gives an opinion or sits in judgment in a cause, he ought to be certain and absolute that he has no bias for or against either of the parties. If he has any interest, even the most, can't read that handwriting, in the case, he is disqualified from sitting as a judge, and when aware of such an interest, ought to lawfully and justly recuse himself on a case. The delicacy which characterizes the judges in their county, generally forbids their sitting in such a cause. The judge must not only be impartial, but must always follow properly enforce the law, not abuse. He is bound to declare what law is and not make it about an arbitrator, but an interpreter of the law. It is their duty to be patient in the investigation of the case, understand circumstances and difficulties by all parties, carefully in considering parts of a case in whole, and decent in judgment. That's from the Bouvier Law Dictionary, 2012 edition. And then she includes quite a few quotes from different case law. Then we get into the actual statement that she gave, and I'm not going to do that because we already heard this and our blood all boiled, so I'm going to move on from it. I do apologize. This is just incredibly long.
It is the unedited version. She made clear to say that this is what she had intended to read at her sentencing.
Mm-hmm.
All that shit to the judge.
Yep. Yep. Okay. All right, here we go. I think I'm getting to where this is not the parts that she read. Well, I'll start here. I think I've missed the prosecutors. She does do some, slandering of the prosecutors as well as the detectives. I think I've missed that. It's okay. You guys can go back and read this, but my goodness, it's too long for this.
It's in our Discord. Jess posted it for us in Discord.
Yes.
So if you're interested in reading the whole thing, it's in there.
Yes. All right. Another great contributor of my something is social media with its greed, insensitivity, deception, obvious exploitation, and advantageous gain from my criminal case as a whole, and for sentencing me by anticipation as a result of ignorance and having conjured and fabricated the organized crime that is social media, which condemned me in the court of global public opinion since the beginning. My family law case is the new prey, waiting to be picked apart and pillaged from me, being made infamous by social media in my criminal case. It simply seems I cannot forgive and be forgiven and move forward. Social media has made me a pariah. It has caused great oppression and undeniable disadvantages, especially by broadcasting and manipulating my cares online. Present. In my criminal case, as a result, my opportunities to be given a fair, proper, and uninfluenced, successful conclusion was heavily depleted and poisoned. I forgive them. Also, the media tycoons for not having a life of their own, trying so desperately to make themselves seem so right by making me appear so wrong. Forgiveness for prejudice, ridiculous theatrics, lies, making and taking blood money from mine and others' misfortunes, accidents, and catastrophes. It's all over their hands and keyboards. Even after all of that has been said and done, theorized, hypothesized, scrutinized, and blasphemized in my case, still no one knows me. I don't know this word. It looks like goid. Also runs deep for my prior attorneys. Padilla, who sold me the world with empty promises and then abandoned his responsibilities as my attorney after taking 2.5 years of my life, when finally realizing he was in over his head, all while hoarding Justice Department dollars to fund his staycations with his family when in town from Miami, for having resources ready and available, not allowing me, the client, to ever utilize, which could have greatly progressed my case, and perhaps concluded, only for him to decide what parts or water parks, fine dining, and choice hotels were more important than me. I forgive Frank Bakowitz for committing perjury to the judge on court record about my attempts to be a proactive defendant and client, inquiring about my discovery, then trying to communicate with no answers or correspondence in any manner for a full year and 2 months before I was able to finally meet with him in the courtroom, only to receive his petition to withdraw. Frank Bankowitz is forgiven for his greed, taking $15,000 from the JAC, who honorably aid indigent defendants such as myself, for taking advantage of and robbing the justice system by lying and avoiding clients, taking their money, and the JAC's. Winston Hobson receives my forgiveness, who also unethically perjured himself to the judge and on court record about all of the progress and attorney work he did in my case for the 2 months he was court appointed as, for his allegations of my supposed unethical requests, which he meant me asking about my discovery and trying to have him file a motion for my lawful inclusion to my pretrial conference. I wanted to be included in my case, and no progress from being excluded by Bankowitz and Padilla over 3 years of prison time. Over 3 years prior. Forgiveness also in telling me he would return in a week with my discovery, only to receive his motion to withdraw in the meantime. Still not receiving my discovery, and I filing my own motion enabling me to do all of my hearings, including my pre-trials. Continued forgiveness in his greed and selfish intentions, also for robbing the JAC and indigent defendants of $15,000 more for nothing, justifying any work he really did do in the handful of days he represented me as my attorney. Finally, and with all my something received from this one, I forgive Patricia A. Cashman for her mean, snotty, egotistical attitude and not listening or caring that I finally received my discovery. I kept asking for her for it, which she fully withheld from me, citing her ridiculous, untrue reasons, because I sat with my first attorney 4 years prior while she was being my present at that time attorney. I saw not one page or any digital evidence of my discovery that prohibited me from seeing. Patricia A. Cashman is also forgiven for admitting I had a right to a bond I asked her for so I could actually utilize my rights, as opposed to having them always violated as prior and still ongoing. Then her utterance of all of my opportunities to do so. For all of her lies, condescension, gross, unnecessary arguments, and anger, that I asked her for questions and wanted to understand, for her doing nothing other than to give me an even harder time and request transcripts, then brazenly lie for over $16,000 for doing so. Also from the previous resources provided to me from the JAC, I forgive Patricia A. Cashman for being a liar and a bully.
Also, definitely not kind and loving enough, remember?
Yes. Forgiveness for all those who did not include me to receive my $15,000 share I worked for when Judge Kranick forced me to be my own attorney.
What?
To represent myself as pro se, I actually and finally got my own discovery almost 5 years later. Filed motions all prior should have been done, making them the most expensive motions ever, at over $46,000 between the 3 prior attorneys, Bankowitz, Hobson, and Cashman. Would they have done so when supposedly representing me? The motions would have been priceless for the proper use of the JAC funds towards ethics, professionalism, honesty, and freedom. I honorably utilized my JAC resources and mentorship as a proactive, indigent defendant, avidly defending myself against the liars, thieves, and real villains in my criminal case. Who really is the criminal? The JAC can hopefully include their forgiveness for them also. Judge Wooken and Kranick, I have great forgiveness for also in not protecting me, listening to my valid requests for judicial intervention, so I could properly and fairly defend myself against my charges. Instead, I had to defend myself against the attorneys, all appointed by the judge and court, against their lies and exaggerations, reasons unjustifiable why they were really creeping away from the battlefield and abandoning their professional duty as my attorney. Judge Kranick, I forgive you for not giving me an opportunity to stand at your pulpit, to stand at all to explain the real, truthful side of the story. I believe if the justice system, including yourself, would and should have done any real vital homework on the already almost see-through attorneys from being spread so thin, and simply sending an email to care about their present workloads, number of clients, trial schedules already in place before throwing another inmate / defendant, unknowing client on the heap of unimportant warm pile of bodies. Something taxpayer dollars could be conserved and less time consumed and wasted for everyone, regardless of what part they play in the supposed system of justice. Judge Kranick, I forgive you for kicking me when I was down and choking the life out of my constitutional amendments, most profoundly, my sixth right to counsel as a result of my wholehearted use of my first right to free speech in being my own advocate since no one else would be, and received a paycheck for. In all of my free speech experience-driven letters, only for remedy in any collaboration, inclusion, receiving my discovery as an inmate, defendant, and client. None of my attorneys to cause delays or any reason or excuse you may try to force on me and have already inappropriately accused me of doing prior with your heavily insinuated strategies of mine to try and deflect the glaring red flags, disappointments, and true crime in and of the justice system. To this day, and all forward, I do not forfeit my rights, any of them, ever, especially my right to be bold, outspoken, and my right in my real-life experiences with the legal and justice systems. You weren't there, Judge Kranick, in anything. No meetings, phone calls, visits, and still took my rights and appeals harder.
What?
I must now defend myself against you, praying that you do not care to something as of all the others and retaliate further against me. as a still proud citizen of the United States of America and freely, excitedly using my God-given rights to still try and defend myself, to stand all the way up. For you to remove my freedom altogether by allowing and appointing new stab wounds, something body parts, rapes, bumps, bruises, and all of the rest of the beatings I endured, I hope you can finally see and understand some of the pain from this extreme difficulty, obstacles, and unfairness, especially in my due process, you have added in my criminal case and life as an inmate, defendant, and client. All is forgiven.
What the fuck?
Then she forgives the detectives for a couple of pages. And then the prosecutors, Mr. J and Mr. Cacciatore, my forgiveness is also extended for your inappropriate attributed negatives, for having to go through years of my pictures, videos, texts, erroneously piece together your deceitful, damning version of what really happened and who I am. After so much availability and for so long, you were finally able to make the circle fit into the square. I forgive your antics, theatricals, ludicrous comments to make sure that the world got their money's worth while watching with ignorant pitchforks and burning torches, hoping for the best from you, which is my worst. Instead of dropping the mic, Mr. J, you dropped the bat. For the yelling, finger-pointing, and intense underlining to force your theoreticals and fanatics on the jury by using imaginary space adventurers and fictional characters to blind and bedazzle them with your far, far away from the truth dramatization.
He bedazzled the jurors, guys. That seems like assault.
The jurors. And then lastly, next goes out to the jury for not understanding my cracks from being blinded from the injustice and malpractice in all of the judicial and prosecutorial errors, the very apparent violations of my constitutional rights during my care and entire trial, which caused mass confusion and dysfunction. I forgive the jury truly for being weary from this confusion and dysfunction, also from being hungry and tired and wanting to go home to their families after being away from them in full capacity for 2 full weeks. I understand. From this and their brash, misguided, corrupted decisions, I was wrongfully judged a murderer instead of a survivor. For this all is forgiven. For this I can still survive and stand tall, having an even greater, the greatest opportunity to finally be understood in the Supreme Court for my appeal. I didn't lose. God just wanted me to win in a different way. Faith and forgiveness. Yep. In my soft-spoken conclusion, I ask this. Would I be the darling mother, celebrated woman of the year, if it was I who died? How many daughters, mothers, sisters, aunts, grandmothers, nieces, and friends have been because they did? I am a survivor.
You killed George, you bitch!
First
You
of all,
killed
Sarah,
him! We all know you killed him.
if I can call you that, Sarah. The evidence against you was immense.
We can't hear you very good because of your
For the
mic.
last 5 years is appalling. You're telling yourself a story and believing it. You're buying your own hype. You're soaking your own sauce. You are believing this shit that you have come up with. Get survivors' names out of your fucking mouth, because what
Yeah.
you're doing is wrong. That's what I have to say about that. What you're doing is wrong.
I'm trying to tell her she doesn't have her mic on because she can't hear me because she doesn't have her mic on. There we go.
I forgive you, wig and microphone.
Is that that what we do now? We just forgive everything that's ever wronged us. Mm-hmm. Or that we've ever wronged, really.
Or that we've ever wronged, apparently.
Style.
Mm-hmm. That is something.
Oh my God.
Really,
did she want some money for representing herself?
That was new. I'd not heard that. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, good Lord. Yes, I forgive Kristi for pointing that out to me as well. Yes.
Oh, yes. Right. Yes.
Right. The jurors were certainly waited with bated breath for her forgiveness. I'm so very sure.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Can you imagine Judge Cranick? Like, what the fuck? And talk about a judge.
You mean Mr. Cranick?
Mr. Cranick. Well, and talk about a judge that didn't overreach and that was, unbelievably patient with this crazy person, you know?
He tried so hard.
He did. He went
so
over
hard.
And above, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean...
Mm-hmm. I think we're a part of the social media gauntlet that she's so mad at. I'm guessing.
Yes.
She keeps referring to social media without referring to the media, which I thought was kind of interesting, or kind of maybe a lack of understanding. But yeah. But she wants her $15,000, guys.
For representing herself.
Mm-hmm.
Dude.
You know what's really sad about the letter, though? She only forgave three of the 9 attorneys.
I noticed that. They didn't all get forgiveness.
Mm-mm. No. They weren't that important.
And Cashman, that last one, man.
Oh, boy, she hated Cashman the most.
She did.
And she didn't have Cashman for that long. But
no.
She hated her. The snotty
but poor Cashman
attitude.
Was just like, watching her in court, she was like, Your Honor, what am I supposed to do with this?
Cashman has been a public defender for something like 30 years. I mean, she's very, very well respected and a seasoned attorney. Sarah, at some point it's you, darling. Sometimes it is just you.
Yes, listen to the T-Swift song because it is you. You are the problem in all of this.
Absolutely. So, well, there you go. So, in the Discord, Jess put a link there if you want to read the whole thing. It's there. I gave you most of the lowlights, however, so...
Oh my God.
So, Kristi, let's move on. Oh, my goodness. Talk to us about Hannah.
Well, friends, we thought we were maybe done with Hannah Kobayashi. We're not, but it is good news. Hannah Kobayashi has been in contact with her family, and she is safe. Mm-hmm. And I think that's just all we needed to know, really, you know.
Yeah.
Her family has come out to say that we are incredibly relieved and grateful that Hannah has been found safe. This past month has been an unimaginable ordeal for our family, and we kindly ask for privacy as we take the time to heal and process everything we have been through. Because, holy shit, in the midst of this, they lost Hannah's dad.
Yeah.
Just wild. But good news, she's safe. They're not saying where she is or what's going on with her, and that's okay. I just think we're all glad to know that she's okay.
Yes, and what a crisis for that family. My God.
Terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah.
She could have, definitely waited around a little while, but I'm just glad she's okay.
Me too. And so much love to her family. What a horribly hard holiday season they're embarking on here.
Oh my God, yes.
With everything they've been through.
Yeah. Now she can kind of, figure out what the hell's going on with herself,
Yeah. Yep. Well, moving on to, you want to hear a little more about Alec F. Murdaugh?
I mean, do we ever?
Yep.
Murdaugh. Someone's going to correct us. Murdaugh.
Well, we were told that, in the Low Country, his name would be pronounced Alec Murdaugh. Murdaugh.
No, Murdaugh.
Yeah. Alec Murdaugh. Yeah.
Yep.
Where we live, it would definitely be Alec Murdaugh. But it's okay. It's whatever.
Right.
You all know who I'm talking about. That orange bastard.
How could we not know?
Yeah. He has officially filed for an appeal with the South Carolina Supreme Court. And this, of course, is based on 2 things. First of all, of course, Court Clerk Becky and all of her nonsense. which is a real reason why he could really get a new trial. It's terrifying.
It is.
She is being accused currently of, she has to face the State Ethics Commission on December 19th. She's accused of 76 ethics violations. This is not good. If we have to sit through another whole trial of Mags and Pawpaw, I don't even know what we'll do.
Your Honor, I'm just a simple Southern man who loves Mags and Pawpaw.
Yeah.
And I would never hurt my family. Oh, gross.
The other thing that he that is a part of the appeal, saying that the court committed a legal error and abused its discretion by allowing improper character evidence allowed by the court that infected the trial with unfairness. So basically, this is allowing in the financial crimes and the the unaliving for hire and things like that. So, well, we'll see what happens. We'll see if the South Carolina Supreme Court agrees that this was egregious enough that he gets a new trial, or if they're going to tell him to sit down with that nonsense. We'll see.
Please say sit down with this nonsense.
Oh, man.
Come on.
I so don't
No one
want
needs to hear from this asshole ever again.
I don't want anyone to have to go through this again. I especially do not want Maggie's family to have to go through this again.
Do we really want to have to listen to Harpoodle talk again?
Oh, God. Maybe he'll retire by then. I don't know.
If he points a gun at the prosecutor again, I swear to God.
There better be consequences this time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I could not believe that just went without any consequences last time.
Yeah. But it's true. The Pooter and his ride or die Jim they're fighting real hard for their client here, which tells me that Murdaugh must still have some money because they just keep going.
Right? Yeah. Right. Exactly. They're going to milk this cow till it's dead.
But were his rights violated, especially because of what Becky did?
Right. That's my concern. I'm not too concerned about the trial itself, but the bullshit that she pulled?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
It's very concerning. Becky, goddammit. Oh. Yeah. Not good.
I think
Okay.
Thanks Becky ought to just become a regular here on the show.
Except everything that
Becky.
goes wrong. This has got to be Becky's fault. Yes.
Yeah.
On a much brighter note, talk to us about Gisele Pelicot.
Well, we all know what a hero Jazelle Pelicot is. She is, of course, the French woman whose husband and 51 other men have been charged with sexually assaulting her while she was drugged over a 10-year period. And she is such a badass, and she has refused to remain anonymous in her trial. She has attended her trial. She has spoken out loud. She has spoken out for women's rights and for the rights of victims. And she has said, one of the things that I really love that she said is, why should I be ashamed? I'm not ashamed.
Yeah.
I didn't do this. They are the ones who should be ashamed, not me. And
she has been such a baddie, man.
She has. And so she has been named the 2024 Person of the Year because she reversed the language and has given women permission to reject shame. And this is the New European, which is a magazine, obviously. And they have named her Person of the Year. And I just think that is fantastic. I love her. I think that she is such a hero. But I particularly love the way that she has said, why should I be ashamed? Mm-hmm. I didn't hurt anyone.
Yeah.
They are the ones who need to be ashamed. And that is flipping the script on rape in a way that has needed to be flipped for a long time. And this woman is a brave hero.
Yep.
And we'll just continue to sing her praises. But I was very thrilled to see that the New European named her Person of the Year for 2024.
All of the flowers to Giselle. A few weeks ago, a group of Maori women in New Zealand had, they're a coalition against domestic violence of Indigenous women in New Zealand. They had gifted her a scarf that she wore in court to make sure that it was seen, because she wanted to discuss it in front of the camera and thank them, and also talk about what they're doing. I was very, very proud of that, and proud of her. Just all of it.
Absolutely.
Correct,
And
Armand. Exactly that.
yes.
This is why Sarah is a venom. Exploiting actual DV victims. Exactly.
Yes.
That is
Yes.
it.
That was one reason I felt like her case was really important to highlight, because trying to use what she did to George as self-defense, as excused by battered spouse, when, I mean, we all saw
She
the
had all
videos
the
that she
evidence.
took of George.
Yeah.
She had all the resources and those videos of the way that she would berate him. You will
Abuse
never
him.
get me to believe that she was not the aggressor in
Yep.
that situation.
Nope. Speaking of the aggressors, there's been some new evidence in Corey Richens.
Oh, yes.
You knew she was going to come up tonight, since I was, drinking out of my Moscow Mule cup.
Right?
So Corey, part of the evidence was that she had asked her housekeeper to help her get fentanyl.
Right.
Well, we know now that she also made requests via text to a man named William Hayden Jeffs. He was a handyman that worked on several of her properties. Remember that she owned properties through her real estate business, right? So her handyman, William Jeffs, she also texted him a few times, asking if he could help her get fentanyl and propofol.
Jesus.
So
I cannot
apparently
stand that. Ugh.
he had provided copies of those texts to investigators. And it's the first we're hearing of it, though. We had been, in the arrest affidavit, they discussed the housekeeper.
Right.
But that's,
But hey, more evidence against Corey Richins? Great. We need to bury her under the same jail as Sarah Boone.
absolutely. So that's, I think, pretty interesting. Part of the problem, it's not a problem now, I guess, but here's the wild twist to this, though. Jeffs was killed in a car accident, or a motorcycle accident 2 months ago.
Oh.
His phone was seized by the Heber City Police Department in a separate investigation due to his death. And they released it to the Summit County Attorney's Office after they served a warrant to assist with the homicide case with all of these text messages.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Isn't that
I
something?
wonder if he was a former polygamist. He's a Jeffs from...
That's a
Utah.
really good question. The Jeffs family's from that area, especially southern Utah.
Well, and he worked construction, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
tons of them work construction.
Interesting. That's a really good point.
I know, I was like, Jeffs? Oh, no.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, and speaking of polygamists,
Right. Let's talk about Samuel R. Bateman. You probably remember him. We've talked about him a few times. This is him in his jail jammies, because that's the way I like to see him. He's the guy who had the fight with the cops and called his children his property, referring to his children over and over again to the police as his property. And then he was also caught pulling a enclosed trailer with a door that was not latched, and there were a bunch of little girls inside the trailer. Remember this guy?
a U-Haul trailer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Well, great news. So he's from Colorado City, Arizona, and he was trying real hard to step into the shoes of Warren Jeffs, because that's something to work toward. Taking over Jeffs, who's been in prison since 2011 and is never getting out. Anyway, so he considered himself a leader of a Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints group.
Yeah.
And he had gathered up 20 wives, 10 of which were under 18. Yeah. So he was picked up by the feds with all this crap going on. And he was charged with sex trafficking and a bunch of other stuff. And there, girls as young as 9 had been sexually victimized by him and his group. He is such a disgusting bastard. Oh,
absolute monster. Yeah.
So he was arrested in August of 2022 when the whole box trailer situation happened, when he had a box trailer full of little girls, which turned out to be his wives. Mm-hmm. So he has now agreed to plead guilty to 2 federal charges. Wives, yeah. Victims. Conspiracy to commit transportation of a minor for criminal sexual activity and conspiracy to commit kidnapping. Mm-hmm. He was taking a little page out of Joseph Smith's book, and he was just taking women and girls from other families and just saying, well, they're mine now, I'm marrying them.
Yeah.
Which we all know Joseph Smith did that. He had 34 wives, guys.
Yeah.
And, y'all know we're ex-Mormons, and we have, mainstream Mormons, not fundamentalist Mormons, but we have a lot of opinions about such things.
Mm-hmm. We also high from polygamy. A few generations back, but yes.
We come from the original families, the start of the Mormon Church that did polygamy. But in his plea agreement, he was facing 20 to 50 years in federal prison. Prosecutors said that the only appropriate sentence for him would be 50 years. His lawyer, who, I know he's doing his job, but this is just gross. He said that the court should give him a 20-year sentence and argued that it would allow his client to be treated and rehabilitated. And that anything over 20 years seems overly harsh and unnecessarily punitive. For sex trafficking children. The judge, however, did not agree.
Yeah.
He was evaluated by a psychiatrist who said that he was mentally ill and delusional. Was he, though? Actually, 9 of Bateman's other followers have now pleaded guilty to charges relating to this sexual abuse conspiracy. He was passing his wives around to just whoever. He'd drop them off for a while and then pick them up. And he did stuff like load them up on the back of a flatbed and drive them around town in Colorado City to show them off.
Yeah.
So can you imagine what the judge said when it was time to actually sentence him? Mm-hmm. He said, "You're getting 50 years, motherfucker. See ya." Yep. Never. Yep. He's going away to federal prison for 50 years.
Yep.
He's 48. So, man's never getting out.
No.
And that's good news for the entire world.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, it's awful. He's awful.
Oh, the stuff that they
but all these
talked about girls. That they did to these little girls.
Yeah.
Just
where are these children
lives.
now? Were they put in care? Did they stay with their mothers? Because they
are. I know that they did. I don't know for sure. I believe they're with their legal guardians, but that's not necessarily the best. No. One of the victims who was 14 at the time that this all went down, wrote to the court and said that Bateman had harmed every part of her life. He stripped her of her identity, including her personality, dreams, and ambitions, and she lost her education, self-confidence, and many of her family relationships. Mm-hmm. It's as tragic as it can get, but right. I don't know. I'm hoping that these victims are getting a lot of help, but it's true that their own mothers did and fathers did allow them into these situations because they were following the prophet.
Yep.
Gross,
indeed.
Gross.
It's maddening.
Yeah, I'm sure that he will get a lot of comeuppance in federal prison.
Oh yeah.
Warren Jeffs has, and good.
I just hope these little girls are safe. I just suspect they're still not, which is really sad.
I know.
And upsetting. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about this beautiful little girl.
Yes.
Do you guys
I cannot
remember?
Believe.
This is Jessica Mast. We started covering, and I always start thinking about her this time of year because this is when she died.
Yep, it is.
This beautiful little girl's name is Jessica Mast. She was murdered 4 years ago by her parents and her neighbors. They were actively working on beating the demon out of her mother, which resulted in them deciding that poor little 4-year-old Jessica also needed the demon beat out of her, and she suffered for 2 weeks of beatings and then a drowning, and then being left to die naked and freezing on her bedroom floor after being drowned in a pond in very, very cold weather. And it has taken forever for justice to be served in this case. It is enraging.
Ridiculous amount of time.
Her parents were out on bond for a good deal of the last 4 years. They were finally violated a while ago and put back into the system. So I was just thinking about her today and thinking, is this ever going to wrap up? This happened in Benton County, Missouri. And what I discovered
is Jessica Mast is her name, Natasha.
Jessica Mast, yeah. That her father took a plea deal last month. Hadn't heard.
Oh, he hasn't been on trial? I don't get this.
The way this has been treated is enraging. So here's what happened. He accepted a guilty plea to second-degree murder and first-degree assault. If he fully cooperates and doesn't renege on the terms of his plea agreement, his 6 other counts will be dismissed.
Bullshit. Put that man before a jury and let them send him away forever.
Yeah.
God.
Yep. So there also, it's when the sentencing is scheduled, and it hasn't and won't be for a while, prosecutors will recommend no more than life sentences on both counts to be served concurrently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Never mind. He's never getting out. Good.
Here's why.
Because I mean, there's the assault of the little brother too. I mean, that little boy damn near died.
Yeah. Yeah. So Mary, we know Mom. Mary, she entered a guilty plea in 2023 and is also awaiting a sentencing date. We also know that Ethan Mast, the neighbor, entered a guilty plea in February 2022 and is also awaiting a sentencing date. Why the hell are they all waiting for a sentencing date? Well, because they are all supposed to testify against Courtney Almond. Courtney being the fourth co-conspirator. She is the only one that hasn't taken a plea, and she can't because she is still in state's care because she has been found incompetent. So they can't be sentenced because testifying against her is a part of their plea agreements, all 3 of them. So they can't be sentenced until they testify against Courtney, and Courtney can't take a plea or even go to trial until she is found to be competent and released from state's care. So for right now, it's all just standing still. But how is that much different than what's happened for the last 4 years? It just
at least they're not out on ankle monitors anymore.
No.
Right?
At least that. Because they were in family's care. I felt this whole time like they were just living with their children.
Yeah,
they weren't supposed to be, but this has been handled so
but they were.
poorly and frustratingly. Yep, absolutely. So, Jessica, we will never forget you or what happened to you.
No.
But, so now you know, those 3 have all finally pled guilty, but we're just waiting for Courtney Almond to ever... Courtney was in her early 20s. She... And these families were a part of the Mennonite community in Missouri and had kind of fractured off to their own sect of a spiritual belief that everybody's full of demons and the only way to remove demons is through physical force and a lot of wild stuff. But the child abuse...
Yeah, all of the child abuse.
...is unbelievably shocking. So I wanted to follow up on that one because I've been thinking about Jessica due to it being December. It was just a couple of days before Christmas when she died. So that's what's going on with that case. So now you know.
Well, it's good news.
It is.
Steph and Stuff said, yeah, people need to do a better job picking profits. I think our lesson here is there aren't any. I think that's the lesson. Go. I mean, Chad Daybell, Samuel Bateman. Will Smith, lots of others.
Yeah. For sure.
Wowza.
Let's see, Kristi. Oh, I think the last one that you have is the kayaker.
Oh my God. A miracle has occurred, friends. Ryan Borgwardt, remember that jackass? The guy that, died in a kayaking accident 3 months ago. This jerk right here has returned to the United States and has turned himself in.
Yeah.
So if you remember, he is the guy who faked his own death in a kayaking accident. This was in Green Lake County, Wisconsin. And they looked for his body for a month. And eventually, it started coming to light that maybe Mr. Borgwardt had in fact not died in a kayaking accident, but had left the country, cleaned out his bank accounts, abandoned his wife and children, and took off to Uzbekistan to meet up with a woman, is the story. The police really aren't releasing what exactly he did and where he went. They're just basically saying, that's what we think, but the details will be up to him.
Yep.
What they believe now is that, well, they've been in contact with him for a while. And what he told the police is that he went to, he was from Watertown. He went to Green Lake where he overturned his kayak, dumped his phone, and then paddled an inflatable boat to shore. He said he picked that lake because it was the deepest in Wisconsin, so, they wouldn't be able to find him. He then rode an electric bike 70 miles to Madison, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
He took a bus to Detroit, Michigan, and then boarded a bus to Canada, and then got on a plane to Uzbekistan.
Yep.
And he had moved a bunch of money. He had wiped the hard drive on his laptop and cleared his browser history and a bunch of stuff like that. They found that he had a bunch of searches. They finally did find he had searches about passport photos, about how to move money to foreign banks, and communication with said woman in Uzbekistan.
Yep.
He had also taken out, this had been in the works for a while, he had taken out a $375,000 life insurance policy on himself in January.
Yep. I guess he thought his family would get that, and that was going to make his
that was going to make all this shit okay?
In doing this?
Yeah. Gross.
It's unbelievable.
Well, authorities convinced him that for the sake of his family, he should come home and face up to what he's done. And so he did fly back to the U.S., and he turned himself in.
Yep.
The sheriff's office says that it cost them about $35,000 in the month that they took looking for his body.
That seems like such a bargain. Is that
right?
Really all it cost them?
Yeah, I know it does seem like a bargain. He told the sheriff's office that he thought they probably wouldn't even only look for him for 2 weeks.
Yeah. You guys look for a month? I mean, that's on you, right? Because I didn't think you'd look that long.
This guy. So he is in custody, and there are going to be charges. Obstruction of justice, fraud,
sure
I don't know.
Yep.
Not sure what else yet, but he is certainly not out of the woods.
Yeah.
As far as the police are concerned, and I don't know what his family's going to do with him.
Yeah.
Tell him to fuck off and die in prison? I don't know. He has children. He has young children that he did this to.
Yeah.
And a wife that, divorce is legal here in the United States. And if you don't want to be with your wife anymore, you can get a divorce.
Yeah.
But you cannot divorce your children, you dumb motherfucker.
They're probably divorcing him at this point. I hope every one of his family members are just slamming the door on him because
they're just heartbroken. They were so stunned. No one had any idea that anything was going on here. It's just wild.
It's so terrible.
Yeah, it is. Really sad.
Absolutely. Did we see
So
the
that's
fatal
that,
crash
guys.
in Nampa where the car ended up on a roof? Yes.
We sure did.
It
Holy
hit 2
crap.
roofs.
It
Yeah.
did? That was
Yeah.
scary.
Very scary. Yeah. Can you imagine? Luckily, the people weren't home. But
Yeah.
it did damage their home, and the passenger was killed.
Yeah.
I mean, what the hell are you doing
They
that you
blew
end up on
through
the
a
roof?
chimney.
Yeah.
Oh, so bad.
Yeah. Yep. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh, Rolo said that's her mother-in-law's neighborhood. Oh my
Oh
gosh.
my gosh.
Lordy.
How terrifying.
Indeed.
We have there's a house just down the road from us that twice cars have had a wreck and blown through their back fence and ended up in their living room.
Yeah.
It's happened to
2
that house
times.
2 times.
Yeah.
I'm like,
They put
I
up
think
a
maybe you should
pretty
just...
good fence now.
It still wouldn't, though.
Yeah.
It needs to be like concrete. Really.
What in the world?
To keep cars out of the house. I couldn't believe it happened once and then it happened again.
Yeah. Insane.
Crazy.
Oh, she said she didn't have power for hours. That that is super tight right there. Yeah.
Oh,
But yeah, it knocked
wow.
the power out. It really shook the whole neighborhood and everyone. Oh my
Scary.
gosh. Very scary.
House airbags, right? Do we need airbags on our houses?
Oh yeah, getting the car down? I can't even imagine.
What it looked like when it was up there was unbelievable.
Oh, Christine has a friend who ended up with a car in her pool. Wow.
Oh no. Crazy.
Well, there was a house down on the corner from us who people kept sliding through the intersection in the winter and taking out their fence. And they finally cut the corner of their property and put the fence at an angle and just kind of left that area open to just
Yeah.
have at it.
Whatever, just leave our damn fence alone. Yeah.
Yeah. Joelle's grandpa drove through the post office once. Grandma was in buying stamps. Oh dear.
Oh, good God.
Yikes. I hope everyone was okay.
That reminds me of your case from yesterday, that
Yeah.
dumbass in Utah that drove into that car dealership on purpose.
On purpose, in anger. Oh, Lord. So tomorrow we're going to talk more. We're going to start covering a little more in depth now. There's a trial that started here in Idaho Falls that totally took us by surprise.
Yeah.
Because this person took a plea deal last year. But that must not have fully solidified.
It must not have. I had no idea this case was going to go to trial.
So I even researched it today because I'm like, am I on drugs? Am I crazy? I thought he took a plea. The news reported he took a plea. There is footage of him in court saying he was taking a plea, but somehow that fell apart. So this is Mark Bent. And I don't know if you guys will remember this case. You might. This is the guy who murdered, he's in his 40s. He murdered a kid in his 20s. And then put a big post on Facebook about it. And then went and sat in a parking lot not too far from you, and called 911 and said, I just shot somebody. And the police came and got him and arrested him. And the person
I also
that he
posted
shot,
this big long thing on Facebook saying he'd done it.
yeah.
So why he's at trial, I don't know.
So Mark Bent, the kid that he killed's name is Nicholas Bird. And Nick Bird was a friend of my son. Nick Bird's been in my home before. Nick and Micah were both on the same wrestling team in high school. I remember Nick very well from high school. Very funny, cute kid. That's who he murdered. And it was just was a horrible shock around here, of course. And so they started trial yesterday, and we were stunned because we had no idea this was going to trial. So we're going to keep following it. Yesterday was pretty wild. Mark Bent's dad perjured himself. It got pretty heated. Mark's attorney, he's putting Mark Means to shame, in my opinion. So,
Oh my gosh, right?
we're gathering our bearings. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be streaming. I researched the judge. He doesn't have a YouTube, so I don't think it's streaming. But we're going to get the updates together. So we'll give you a bigger picture of what's happened so far tomorrow on our stream at 3 p.m. and some other things too, But we'll keep you up to date on this case because it's something. What he did is unbelievable.
It really is.
but we'll get to all of it tomorrow. But I wanted to tell you that that's what's in the works, because that's a case that's important to us, and you know. But when you hear so far the things have gone down in court, you're going to be like, "Yep, that tracks."
It's wild.
And I was so happy for Nick's family that there was a plea, so they would not have to sit through a trial, and now here we are.
I know.
With some of the stupidest shit in the world being said.
Or some of what he...
Yeah, East Idaho News has the opening statements. Yeah, I'm so confused, Kathy, about where the stream is. Or if they just filmed that, maybe. But yeah, we'll get you that much at least. Yeah. So
it's a wild case. But yeah, I can't figure out why he's going to trial. He confessed on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
He called his parents and confessed to them. He called 911 and confessed to them.
Yeah.
Like, what is the defense here?
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I can find too, Kathy. And there's a spot that has the YouTubes listed on the judicial website of all of the judges, what their YouTubes are. And he doesn't appear to have one. There's no link next to him. I searched him out on YouTube, and so I'm going to email his clerk just to double check and see if I'm missing anything. But it looks to me like it's not streaming. So that's too bad. But anyway, we will bring you abreast of the Mark Bent situation.
Yes,
so
we will.
I think that's it. That's what we've got.
Us too, Armand. We are certainly waiting on more details.
Yeah.
On the Mickey Stein's situation.
Mm-hmm.
And
there
why
are
he
some
killed that
true
judge.
crimers reporting things. We're kind of reserving our judgment and our words until things are a little bit more official.
We see some official things.
Try to be really careful, about what we say publicly. And yeah, people have theories and opinions, and things are being said, but we're playing it a little cool on this one, because there's already been a lot of really egregious things said. So
yeah, we're careful. We want to report things that we can certainly back up.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But yeah, it's bad. Whatever it is, it's bad. Yes, poor Nick. So sad. Just sad and shocking, the whole thing.
His poor girlfriend, her testimony was
her
really
testimony
sad.
was really sad.
They had a big fight the day that it happened. And he took off on foot and wouldn't talk to her for most of the day.
Yeah.
And when she went looking for him, there were cops everywhere at his apartment building. Really sad.
I know. I felt really sorry for her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boo. Well, that's it. And we said this last night, but I'm going to say it one more time just to be clear, because in case you're confused about why we haven't brought more reporting about the CEO shooter, we're not going to. We may bring an occasional short update, but the entire world is covering the hell out of that case. I would rather give more airtime to cases that aren't being covered than just repeat what everyone else is saying. So, you can find all the information you want on that case literally everywhere. So we're watching it too, but we're not going to give up too much of our time to it, just because there's so many other deserving cases that need to have airtime, and that missing persons and, all kinds of things happening that need to have some light shed on them. So we're going to keep our focus there and just kind of let the CEO case be covered by literally everyone else on the planet.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. All righties. Well, thanks for being here. We'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Mountain Time. Until then, take good care of yourselves. Go do something good. This has been yet another production of the True Crime Squad.
Bye, everybody.